Welcome back to DawnNews Open Forum. I'm Ovais Mangalwala and we are discussing the separation between religion and government. Our second speaker from the panel who is supporting secular point of view, we have Dr. Bettina Rowotka. Ma'am, the audience is yours.
I think I'm also not sitting on the right side. Secularism is a European development. It came about over many hundreds of years, and it ended up as, in the French Revolution, bringing about a state, a representative democracy with a strict division between the church and the state. This is a thing for Europe. Now, the blunder which has been done, and I call it a blunder because it has created many problems, is that the Europeans, or what we call today the West, has decided that this way has made us happy, it should make everybody happy. And they think there is only one way to be happy in this world, and this is our way. But nowhere, if we look around in the world, nowhere there is a natural development towards some kind of such a secularism. No? So it is a specific case which they are trying to make general. That is, of course, always bad. And when you try to implement it in Iraq and in Afghanistan, you exactly know what is happening. Therefore, I think secularism, the European model of secularism, is not applicable probably outside Europe. But in a globalized world, where people of different religions live together, we will have to give everybody the right to be different, to follow whatsoever he or she thinks is right. And if we, even from the Islamic point of view, there's no problem, because it is one God only. And one God has sent all those prophets with a message. It is the same message of all religions. So there must be a way how the representatives of those religions can live together. Call it secularism, call it by any other name, because I think by now this term of secularism is so abused, no, that we should find another name for it. But we will have to live together. And if you look at the Charter of Medina, no, which was the first an Islamic state, it is written there that everybody stays where he is. Don't touch them. Leave them alone. You should be a good citizen. You should not cooperate with the enemies of Medina. No? Anything else, what your religion is, what your tradition is, what your culture is, it is left alone.
You said that the model which was followed by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, it can be implemented and it can be updated and it can be implemented. Was it secular? Is this what you're trying to say?
It was, you see, secular, immediately it starts somehow smelling. No? Don't say secular. It was a model which makes it possible for people to live together, people of different religions to live together.
But by renaming secularism, aren't you wrapping the same product in a new wrapping paper?
No. Look, secular, as I said, it is the division between the church and the state. And there were reasons for Europe to do that. They have a fixation on material side of the world, not on the spiritual side. No? But Islam has never had this thing. No? If you look at it, and even Iqbal, if you read his his lectures on the reconstruction of religious thought, he has said it is not possible to divide the spiritual and the material. It has to be together.
We'll now move on to our second speaker, favoring the Sharia model of governance, Mr. Ahmed Shah.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Before I start my speech, I would like to say that in February 2008, the Archbishop of Canterbury basically introduced sort of a bill into their parliament that why cannot the Sharia be introduced into the United Kingdom. This since then they've had serious debate on this. And I've heard that the Queen herself gave orders that such and such archbishops should be removed from their position immediately. So the concept of Sharia has had severe opposition whenever it does surface. For Muslim societies, the acceptance of secularism means something totally different. Islam is a comprehensive system of worship, ibadah, and legislation, Sharia. The acceptance of secularism means the abandonment of Sharia, a denial of divine guidance, and rejection of Allah's injunctions. It is indeed a false claim that Sharia is not proper to the requirements of this present age. The acceptance of this legislation formulated by human means preference to humans' limited knowledge and not preference given to God's knowledge. Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world. Despite being demonized, despite being labeled as terrorists, we are still growing in Asia, we are growing in North America, we are growing in Latin America, and we are growing in Africa at an unprecedented rate. According to a study conducted by Reader's Digest on the growth of various religions throughout the world in the past 50 years, Islam undoubtedly has topped the list, at an astonishing growth rate of 235%, the closest being Christianity with only a mere 40%. The West is suspicious of Islam due to their ill experience with the church. They feel they have attained freedom from religion which only corrupts society by means of spreading fear of God's wrath if they do not adhere to the preachings of the clergy, which successively in turn in Europe, as suggested by the Honorable Doctor, leads to a theological elite who gradually gather enough power to rule on behalf of the Almighty who they represent on earth. The notion is seldom ventured into, whereas history is full of incidents of the church as a brutal, despotic ruler fundamentally seeking its own interests under the guise of God's will. Does the story of the Moors not depict tolerance of the highest caliber, I ask? The Moors ruled Europe, specifically Spain, for a little more than 200 years. And they had not committed any atrocities to non-Muslims. So I say that if when the rules did use Europe, they practiced secularism. And I also say that Islam is by far the most secular of all religions. When the Crusaders captured Jerusalem, the blood of Muslims were knee-high to the horses. And when we captured Jerusalem back, not a single innocent soul was killed. Mr. Speaker, sir, the advancement of Western civilization is often credited to the fact that the outburst of new ideas in science is exclusively to the minus religion formula. My analysis, however, differs from the cliché. I only ask for history to remind us of the time when medieval Europe was engulfed in darkness and Islam was flourishing in Baghdad and Damascus, where scholars from all over the planet gathered to create a pool of infinite knowledge for the betterment of mankind selflessly.
I'm afraid your time is over.
Thank you.
You said that when they captured Spain, they killed Muslims. When we captured Spain, we didn't kill them. Why did you capture Spain? Is capturing necessary?
I also happen to be a student of international relations, and if I understand global power plays correctly, I do understand that it is only natural for political ideologies or religious ideologies to transcend borders. And it is not only solely limited...
spread by capturing other areas?
It is not limited to Islam itself, but however...
Do you believe in democracy?
Yes, I totally adhere to democracy. And
if you allow people to vote, if you allow people to vote, and if they want a secular government, would you still capture those areas?
No. If we do adhere to democracy in Pakistan, I would say that if you have a poll from Kashmir to Sindh, from Sindh to Balochistan, everyone would basically favor a religious state. So therefore, this argument of having a religious state or having a secular case is redundant to Pakistan.
We'll take a very short break right now, and when we come back, we'll continue with the speakers. This is DawnNews Open Forum.